Welcome back to another video about old bikes from Carl's Cycle Supply. This video is about a very special 1943 Harley Davidson E model. The entire world was focused on World War II in 1943, and all effort was aligned with coming together and trying to win. This meant that all supplies, from metal to labor, were focused on cranking out bikes for the war. Harley made just under 30,000 motorcycles in '43, and of those bikes, only 105 of them were low compression E models. This is the first complete 1943 Knucklehead that we have restored, and I couldn't be happier about how it turned out, from the new old stock seat, tires, grips, wiring harness, to the perfect uncut frame and mint engine cases. This bike was part of a 3-bike purchase in Florida. Unfortunately, the trail goes cold back to the 50s, but it's still easy to daydream about the person that was riding it 80-some years ago. This looks just like another gray Knucklehead, like a few other ones we've done in the past, but this bike is actually really special. This is a 1943 Harley Davidson E. We have been looking forward to this video for quite a while. This bike would have been made in 1942, and it is absolutely rare. When the war kicked off, everybody put all their efforts of manufacturing, rationing, and just total overall attention towards winning World War II. That meant rationing gas, food, metal. Everything had to be used for a purpose. This is something that you had to be super special to get back during the war, and you have to be super special to get one now. This is the bike that tons of collectors want to get because it is so rare. Harley only produced 200 Knuckleheads for use in 1943. Between an E, EL, F, and FL, they were very rare and very sought after. Harley made a ton of WLAs in 1942 that they shipped all over the place. They made a ton of them in 43, 44, and a little bit in 45. All of their production efforts were going towards making those motorcycles. They weren't going towards big cruisers like this. So this is a very rare bike, very low production, and it was very fun to do. It is one of the crown jewels for a collection of Knuckleheads we built for our friend Mike. And while we were gathering parts and hunting stuff down all over the world, we would put anything that was the nicest on this 43. Like any old bike, the first thing you look at is the serial number. All of the original 43s that I've seen, that I believe to be true bikes, have a closed top 4. All the ones I've seen are very early. Maybe they changed later on, but like I said, this is one of the first 35, 40 of them. And the case also has some other cool features that we've talked about in other videos. So how the cylinder base kicks in at the top where the cylinder goes. It's more prominent on the front cylinder than the rear, but it is on both. Consequently, it has NOS seat, NOS grips, original no-trip speedometer, NOS dash lenses, NOS headlight, just on and on and on, all the nice stuff. This is the first one we've ever done. We've done a few engines, but I just feel really proud and really special that we got to do it, and it's fun to share some of the details with you guys. So, all right, here is the NOS seat. I took it off the bike just so I could show you guys what it looks like. The bottom of the pan is a semi-gloss, or some might even say glossy green. So I think that means it was probably made in 1940 or 41. I remember as a kid you could buy these seats all the time, and they came in a crate with the studs in them, and a lot of them would have 2 little marks right here and here from the one that was stamped on top of it. So like I said, we didn't even ride on this seat because it's brand new. You can see how the leather's checking a little bit, but you know, in the war years you could only get a brown seat. If you ever wondered what the brown was, this is it. First step was to rivet on the strip, put the padding on, and then they form the cover and then stitch it, then trim it. This is what people call an open seam seat. And the war ones were painted. They must have painted them after it was all put together. One of my favorite details that I didn't notice until recently was that there's a little bit of green paint from when they were handling it. We had one of these seats 15, 20 years ago, and I foolishly tried masking it off and painting the bottom black. And what that did was I painted the bottom black, But when I took the tape off, some of the dye came off of the leather and it looked very splotchy. So this one, I just decided to leave it the way it was and enjoy it as a piece of history. Maybe this is what 43 civilian bikes had on them. There's really no way to tell. To my knowledge, the only color you could get was gray. There's a few black ones around, and that is something that is conceivable, but I have not seen any in pictures. I know of a really cool 44 original paint bike that was sold to a family. They would milk cows and then supply a military base, and they were able to get one. One of my friends in Michigan was the second owner of a really nice 44 Knucklehead. It was original paint, and that bike belonged to a postman. Back to the bike, you can see that the only chrome on it is the knuckle nuts and the tank emblems. Both of these are left over from regular production that was going on. These were replaced with painted emblems in 1945. And I think all the Warrior bikes had chrome nuts throughout the years. So it has white painted lifter blocks, white painted oil pump, Parkerized pushrod tubes, a black air cleaner. Even if you look at the kicker pedal, it doesn't have any rubber on it. It just has these steel spools that are made out of 3 pieces. This is just the coolest bike, and I am so happy with how it worked out. It's got the right frame, right fork, right handlebars. All of the aluminum date codes on this are like 41, 42, and they were just kind of using up what they had to fill the orders. So this is a very early 43. I'm just so happy that we got to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed building it. Here is the left side of the 1943 Knucklehead we've been talking about. You can see that it is just totally utilitarian, made up of the absolute bare minimum. These were just to help out the war effort. This is the lowest production year for overhead valve models that Harley did in all of the years of making Knuckleheads. It's beautiful original, no trip speedometer, new old stock tires. They have the shipping address ink stamped on them, which is a really cool detail. This bike also has NOS wiring harness and just all the right stuff. 43s have chrome plated brass emblems. These are original chrome plating, very nice. I think the painted steel ones came out in 45. Alright, here's the switch to frame terminals. The positive is on the exhaust side, taillight is on the primary side. This 3-wire loom, the green one goes to the coil, green goes to the stoplight switch. Then they twist around with the taillight wire and go down to the brake light switch. Down like this. And then there's the little noose ends where you strip the wire back and dip it in solder. This end on the oil pressure switch is one that I make. That came out in 38 and was used through 47. You can see how it folds over and solders and then rivets with the hollow rivet. It's really cool. Here's the relay wires. 38 to 46 goes around the front of the wire, goes around the back of the relay, and you can see the little copper flags and then the jumper wire. Here's how the switch to relay wire loom looks. The green wire is very short and it just loops down like that. The handlebar buttons to horn terminal goes inside this little clip. The 2 wires go up to the headlight. They're noose ends. These are copper flags. The horns are copper flags with black wires. There's a switch to the fork assembly. It comes out in between the 2 frame tubes on the right side of the steering dampener anchor and then goes up through that clip. You can kind of see it right there, and then it comes up and then loops down under the grease circ, goes through there and goes right there. This is a 2-wire loom from 36 to 46, but 47 they started doing 3 wires. We put a ride control on it. It's a beautiful restored original one. Steel horn face, steel bezel on the headlight that's painted black. This was a new old stock headlight. It was OD green, and if you look on the face, it's still got some of the cosmoline on the glass, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to leave it on there. It's easy to wipe off with your fingernail, but anyways, some of the other wartime stuff is the cast iron front brake lever, steel horn button, steel dimmer switch. It has a 4-speed transmission, black painted shift arm and shift gate, and then the screws. This is always a debatable thing. Some people parkerize them. I've parkerized quite a few of them. My friend in Ohio, Billy, has a really nice original paint 44, and his had black painted screws. So I decided to do that on this one. I'm really happy with how it looks, but I was very scared to tighten them up. I thought the paint would chip, but it didn't. So this is an E. It has 61 cylinders, no date codes on the cylinder bases, which is the same way 42 was, and also 44 on 61s. 74s had the date code up on the cylinder wall. This has the flat-sided clutch pedal, greaser in the back, metal footboard mats. It checks all the boxes. This is such a nice bike. And like I said earlier, this is the first complete one that we've done. We have a few other guys that want us to do them, and I hope we get to do them because it's such a special, rare bike that it's an honor anytime you get to even be around one or work on it. So that's what I have to say about 43 Knuckleheads.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we'll be going over beautiful restorations and motorcycling adventures here at Carl's Cycle Supply.